man. Not another day like last Tuesday.
Cause it's Taco Tuesday.
Tuesday.
The big news.
Hello and welcome to Tuesday Newsday number 10, where our goal is to determine two or more central ideas of a text and analyze their development over the course of that text, including how they interact and build on one another. At the end of today's lesson, you'll be asked to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 4. A 4 means you can identify the central idea or ideas, the evidence that the author uses to prove his or her point, and how those ideas build on one another. A 3 means that you can identify the central ideas and the evidence that the author uses to prove his or her point, but you're missing sort of how those ideas build up to create that larger point. A 2 means that you can identify the central idea, but you're missing that evidence. Missing the evidence is a little bit like not showing your work in math. Even if you have the right answer, not putting down the evidence sort of misses the point, in the sense that this is not about knowing the right answer. It's about process and about identifying why you know the things that you know. Thinking about thinking, if you will. And so that's kind of what we're going for, because I don't know if this is breaking news to you. I hope that it's not, but school has never been about finding the right answer. It's all about the process and the thinking moves that it takes to get there, because those transfer to other topics. Right answers don't, but that the processes and the thinking moves that it takes are what transfer, and that's what we want you to learn. And if you're at a 1, that means you're unsure of how to find that central idea, and that is okay. I want everyone to be at a 3 by the end of the year, but if you're at a 1 or a 2, that tells me that I can do things a little bit differently to help you get there. That's not necessarily an assessment of you. In part it is, but it's a lot of an assessment of me as well. And given the news of the day here, I'm back to politics for some Tuesday Newsday material. However, it is my every intent and every goal to remain completely neutral on the topic, and at the end, I hope that you don't know my political leanings. That would be ideal. As an instructor, I feel like that is what is important. This is actually the second article, so I'm going to pause, reset, and get myself off to the right spot here. Article 1 says, the Times called officials in every state. No evidence of voter fraud. This is an article that here's your caption that kind of sets the tone. The president and his allies have baselessly claimed that rampant voter fraud stole the victory from him. Officials contacted by the Times said that there were no irregularities that affected the outcome. Article 2 says, Trump's campaign's latest lawsuit in Pennsylvania will prevail, says Murtaugh. Murtaugh is the Trump campaign communications director, Tim Murtaugh. This lawsuit is in place because President Trump is alleging voter fraud in Pennsylvania in particular. So the one article claims no voter fraud. The second article claims there is fraud. At the right now is links to both of the articles and an audiobook of them, should you want to have me read along with you, or you can read them on your own. The choice is yours. Next, we have vocabulary. The first question is to identify the topic on the worksheet here, but you already did that when you read the article, so I don't feel compelled to have to answer that right now, nor the first and last sentence of each article. You've already done that. What I do want to do is take a look at summarizing the stories. Taking a look at the first story, the first one from the New York Times. Can you summarize that story in exactly 12 words now? How about in 32 words now? Taking a look at the second story from the Epoch Times, 12 words now. and 32 words now. Scrolling down a little bit here to the main idea. Consider the first article from the New York Times and write down what you think is the main idea of that article now. And write out what the main idea of the second article is from the Epoch Times now. Moving on to the respond to the quote section. What I'd like you to do from the New York Times article, find a quote that you think supports the main idea that you wrote down. Copy that over into Edpuzzle now. And tell me now why you think that quote supports the main idea. Why did the author use that quote? And on to Article 2 from the Epoch Times. Find me a quote that supports the main idea that you wrote down and write it now. And then answer, why is that quote included in the story? An article's tone and bias shine through in the main idea of the article. They're sort of an effect of the main idea of the article. I suspect that the main ideas that you wrote were different between the two based on the bias and tone that you notice in the article. What specifically did you notice was different between the two? Did one seem to blame one group of people and another blame a different group? Was there something in the use of language? Was there more inflammatory language? What are you noticing about the tone and bias of the articles? I'm looking for about 2 sentences. Write that answer now. All right, so here are the main ideas of each article. Article 1 is an analysis of many states suggests that the election was fair and secure despite Republicans' efforts to delegitimize the voting systems. And Article 2 says the Epoch Times writer alleges that there was in fact voter fraud, and she lays out the Republicans' reasoning and explains the process for fixing such an issue. So, if you had anything sort of similar to that, odds are you'll get credit, but note that your article, your quotes from the articles should tie back to those topics. And we will see that right now in our video. And finally, we are back at our scale. Would you rate yourself at a 4, a 3, a 2, or 1 in your ability to determine 2 or more central ideas of a text and analyze that development over the course of the text, including how they interact and build on one another? Where would you rate yourself? And why would you rate yourself at that number?